All right, we're Arts and Adventure Summits, the airwaves. This is the Ogden Arts and Adventure Show. I'm R. Brandon Long, along with
Todd Oberndorfer.
We are your hosts for the greatest arts and adventure podcast in all the land. And guess what time it is, Todd?
It's Tuesday. It's 6:10.
Yeah, it's Christmas time. It's Christmas time.
Christmas
August,
in June?
August 13th.
It's August.
August 13th, and it is Christmas time. That's why we brought Mike in, right, Mike?
I guess.
Okay. So Mike Hurst is an artist, glassblower for how many years?
30
years. So we were talking out there before we took our picture and stuff, kind of get to know the artist a little bit. And he's already working on Christmas stuff, which makes sense because he's got to plan ahead. But Halloween is going in. Everyone's buying the Halloween. In fact, I picked up one of my daughter's cheer girls today, and her parents' house have the giant skeleton up already. The skeleton dog is up already.
Yeah.
So, it's that time of year.
Yeah.
But Mike, you're thinking ahead, man. You're already prepping for Christmas sales with glass blowing. What are you making?
Well, so far, I have about 90 sets of icicles, half dozen sets.
Icicles.
Like
glass.
Christmas tree icicle ornaments. I make a lot of ornaments.
Yeah.
And probably about 6 tubs full of ornaments.
And these are, I think I asked you before, these, they're not ordered. You're just bulking them up, right?
Just making stock for the season.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we should start at the beginning and how you started glass blowing.
You want the whole story?
Well, we have about an hour.
Or we can jump around.
It's not exactly a novel, but it's not a short story.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's go back about 80%.
Okay.
Yeah, that works.
Long story short, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. My mom said, "What do you want to do?" My original career goal was to be a Ringling Brothers circus clown.
Sweet.
So start with that always. Yeah.
Serious.
Yeah.
And people don't believe me. But I met a guy that was boss clown for like 23 years. He said, "Don't do it. It's a hard life.
Oh, really?
You're gone 10, 11 months of the year. You can't have a car, can't have a house, can't have a family."
So the clown life's not as glamorous as it looks. Okay.
See you with the easy route of an artist.
I guess. But he said, I wanted to do it. And at that point, to get into Ringling Brothers Clown College, he said it was harder to get in there than it was the NFL.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And so...
Because that's one of the only major professional, I guess, ways to be a clown? I don't know.
No, but it was like how to get into Ringling Brothers and stuff. And even from there, they weeded it out further.
Uh-huh.
But so my mom said, "What do you want to do?" I didn't know. She said, "Why don't you do neon signs?" She knew I liked doing weird stuff, I guess. And I said, "Why would you tell me that?" She said, she saw a TV show with 2 sisters. They didn't know what they wanted to do. Their dad said, "Learn how to do neon signs. You'll be millionaires." They learned. They were millionaires. I said, "Sign me up." So I started looking around at different sign companies in Ogden. And nobody did. Either they didn't do neon or I didn't have the skills or whatever. I did neon later. We'll get to that. But,
yeah.
But
obviously you're a millionaire then.
Yeah. I put it on the back burner, and I only did it for about a year and a half. I didn't like it. So in the process, my mom, we knew a lady that owned a sewing store out in Roy. We knew the people. We didn't really know them. And she was in there one day, overheard the lady talking to a customer. The customer said, "Does your son still blow glass?" She says, "What?" So she gets in line, or she's in line, gets up there and says, "Did you say your son blows glass?" "Yeah." "Does he do lessons?" "I don't know." "Does he do neon?" "I don't know. Call him." So it was about this time of year, August, September. I called him up. He said, "Yeah, I'll teach you," which I didn't realize what fell into my lap. That was like the fall of '93 when the internet was virtually nothing. And he had taught himself. He made glass cake tops, LDS temple cake tops, ships, all kinds of like old school stuff that had gold painted on or a little blue dot for the eye, stuff like that. So he started teaching me January '94, taught me for a couple months, and then he had taught me everything he knew, and I wasn't no good. But then he quit.
But it only took a couple of months to pass that much information along.
Yeah, he just showed me different stuff. Like I'd go and he'd show me how to make something, then I'd make it. Then I'd practice for a week, go back, learn a little more, and I was no good. But then he quit. So I was great, So a lot of trial and error.
And sounds like you're a little bit of a natural.
I don't know about that. I didn't. I didn't feel comfortable selling my stuff for about 12 years or so. I thought, yeah, it was. I don't know. Something kind of clicked, and it happened. But he ended up. I started buying color because I wanted to do marbles, pendants, color stuff, and then he came to me for lessons on color because it's a whole different animal. And then he started and stopped a few times, but here we are.
The student became the teacher.
Yeah, I ended up working at Yesco doing neon signs. They were teaching me how to do it. I didn't like it. And my friend's dad worked there and said, you know, if you're not happy doing with what you're doing right now, just get out because you're going to start making enough money that it's going to be hard to leave.
Mm-hmm. This small little company.
So
Yesco.
Yeah, Yesco's huge.
Yeah.
Has Yesco always been big?
No, it started just down 24th Street.
Was it here in Ogden?
Yeah, in the 20s. And yeah, the Youngs were really something. They were the ones that owned the car dealerships, and these guys owned the sign place. And the old First Security Bank sign up on top of the bank there, some of that neon was original neon from the 20s.
Oh, cool.
And the guys that would go up there to work on stuff, they had to climb through the scaffolding and stuff. And they said there was always a breeze blowing up there because it was so high, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
But some of it was original neon that had never been fixed, nothing. It just was, because if it doesn't get broken and the electrodes work, it works.
And that recently came down, right? Like 3-4 years?
A couple of years ago. Now it's Cache Valley Bank.
Yeah.
But
well, how many glass blowers are in Ogden or Utah?
More than I thought. I thought I knew everybody. And then I went to a show in Salt Lake about 8 or 10 years ago, and there was a bunch, I guess, just young kids that are learning here and there. I know of a couple here and there, but there's not many. Mm-hmm.
So where'd you have the studio to first learn?
My parents' garage. Then I moved under their base, my dad had dug down under their deck about 4 feet for some storage and made a cement a foundation under there. And we put corrugated tin around and on top, and I worked under the deck for years. So
what'd you need to get started? Like, what were the basics to kind of get started on a very rudimentary home?
I had you need an oxygen tank, oxygen source, which was a tank at that point.
So this is all to code. All of this in the basement.
I don't know. It wasn't in the basement. It was it was under the house. And I've actually talked to the fire marshal, and he said I was doing it right because I wasn't in the house.
Step one, get out of
because the propane is the combustible fuel you use, and it's heavier than air, and it will settle if there's a leak, and it'll go in a furnace or water heater or whatever. So he said, yeah, you're doing it right. But, so I used a hand torch. It was a glass hand torch, but it was just rudimentarily, I guess is the word, put in a vise.
Yeah.
Held up for me to work. And you could change different tips on it and stuff. I used that for, I don't know, probably at least 10 years, 8 or 10 years. And I've had a few different torches since then, but.
Who'd you learn from?
His name's Keith Nielsen.
And so did you invite him over? Like, how did this work? How was this sort of mentor situation?
I went to his house.
Okay.
He lived, I don't know, probably 2 miles from me.
Fair.
Just go over and he showed me on his stuff. I bought the equipment.
I love that.
That's the biggie that I've found is people don't want to buy the equipment. They want to do it. They have a good time, but they don't want to make the investment. And it wasn't a fortune to get what I got in the beginning, but I tell people it's like the $100 thing. Everything's $100 for.
We might know a little bit about that.
Oh my gosh, podcasting is so cheap. It's just
it can be.
It can be. You can do it on your phone, just like photography. You can do it on your phone, but really,
night and day difference.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, glass blowing, I think of it as a double art. Like when you're making it is the coolest thing to watch. It's so I like just watching people do it, let alone the outcome,
And what I do is actually called lamp working.
Okay.
So it's a propane oxygen fueled torch is what you heat it with. And you're heating Pyrex, which the stuff in the furnace was furnace work. That's a softer kind of glass that melts at a lower temperature.
Oh, okay.
So it's like 12 to 1800 to soften that to work it. And I use Pyrex. and it's like 18 to 2,500.
We've established you make icicles and Christmas ornament balls.
What were you making at first?
Well,
I'm curious about that.
Where'd you start?
I wasn't making pipes.
No pipes.
No pipe. I still get asked that all the time, and I said I was just never into that. So
that's perfectly cool.
You don't have to
leave now. That's pretty much the only thing we were interested in. So that's really funny that came up.
You don't have to be into it, but you could sell it and make a boatload of money.
There's
probably.
people that make tons.
Yeah.
The market's kind of faded right now. There's a lot of younger kids. I think they thought they were going to get in. I think a lot of the kids get in to make their own pipes, and then they figure other stuff out. But I think it's like a get rich quick thing. And if it's not happening, they're out. But so he taught me how to make like ships and LDS temple cake tops, and that was his thing, was the temple cake tops, and he made a lot of those. He was the best I've seen. But I wanted to do pendants.
Well, that's hard. Like, that's an art.
Yeah, it's called lace work. So it's almost the easiest way to describe it is like knitting or crocheting, I guess, with glass.
So thin beads, I guess.
Well, it's rods that you get. And he used 5 millimeter rods. Heat it up, pull it out, twist it half a turn, attach it back, pull it out, same thing.
Oh, it is
over and over and over. So yeah, you're just making rows, burn it off, start another row, and you just keep going up. It's fun, but his stuff was always a lot sturdier than mine. I never could get it. That's real sturdy.
It's like that television show that we all love, Nailed It. When you
pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Mine were never that
home
good.
Chefs.
Yeah, home chefs.
And I don't know why, but I've always liked pendants. So I started making pendants, marbles, Christmas ornaments. Now I make plant stakes, watering bulbs for your plants, all kinds of stuff, earrings. But I started with pendants.
So do you ever make work for yourself? Is it always to sell? Are you thinking of the client? Are you thinking somebody's going to purchase it? Or do you sell or create sort of fine art for yourself?
Both. So, I mean, I like making what I want to make.
Sure.
And I tend to make a lot of one thing, and then I cherry pick what I want.
Yeah.
I've got a whole bunch of pendants. I don't even really wear any of them anymore, but I used to wear one every day.
But this is 30 years is a long time. But also it was never your full-time job. Is that right?
No, I did it for 5 years, and I always had a job. And then I've been retired for 5 years, and now it's my job.
Now it's your job. Yeah. With collecting retirement.
But. Yeah, I didn't want to. It was a hobby, then it was a self-sustaining hobby. I really didn't want to cross the threshold of business so much, but it was inevitable. It just was going that way. So
yeah,
and it hasn't been bad, but it's a lot more than I ever thought there is to it.
Yeah,
and being a one-man band, it's kind of
it's a lot.
It's something else.
Yeah.
Now, are you at a point where you're still learning?
I think if you quit learning, you go stagnant.
Oh, I would imagine too.
I subscribe to the 2 magazines that they make. And I always see something in there that's kind of cool. I think you can learn from anybody. So it's just, everybody has their own tips and tricks and ways they do things that you may not even have thought of. So yeah, I'm always learning something, trying to figure something out. I try to do a new Christmas ornament every year.
So I'm assuming you picked up elements of the craft quite quickly. What particular step was the hardest for you? I mean, there's got to be something where it just took weeks and weeks and weeks to just nail it.
Oh, years.
Or years.
And I didn't even nail it.
Oh, fair enough.
So it was because it was trial and error. Now I see kids on Facebook or whatever that have done, they're upset because they've done it for 3 weeks or 2 weeks and their marbles aren't round.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
And it took me years to figure it out. And I didn't, and it's tricky, but once you get it, you get it. But I wanted to make eyeball pendants.
Oh, I like that.
I like the macabre and strange.
Yeah.
I wanted to make realistic eyeball pendants, and I could not figure it out. And when
Like pirate eyes, pirate replacement eyeballs?
No. But I did have LASIK, and that Dr. Hoops,
Yeah.
the old man that come up with all that, he says, "Oh, you should be an ocularist," which is somebody that makes
Yeah.
prosthetic eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's no,
I mean, there's not a lot of them around.
no, and I think there's and they're not even glass anymore. They make them in Lauscha, Germany, that are glass, but otherwise they're all like resin. And even that, it takes years to get, like as an apprentice, to get. I think there's a school now, but there wasn't for a long time. So, and I thought it'd be kind of fun, but I was already, half or 2/3 of the way through my career to go start something else, and I thought I'm not going to do that. So I make glass ones, but they just I finally figured it out. Not exactly how this, as far as I know. I mean, I don't know if I'm sure I wasn't the first one, but nobody was making glass eyes when I started making them. No one was. Now everybody does. But I used to just do dots on top of each other and meld them in. Now there's different ways to do it, but I never did figure it out totally. And then a kid that come up with the best eyes that are out there, as far as I'm concerned, he released some of how he did it. And I was only a couple steps off.
Yeah. So is this like, I mean, where's glass blowing in 2024? Are there like YouTube channels dedicated to it? Is there lots of blogs on it? Like, is there a scene, or is this just?
Yeah, there's a scene, definitely. They do some different big conventions and stuff.
Yeah.
There's one that's more older ladies that do glass fusing, that melts it in a kiln and do that. That's kind of more my speed. I went to that. I've been to a pipe convention and this and that, and it just wasn't, just not me.
Yeah.
So, it was cool and stuff, but I didn't sell that much because I wasn't making pipes and selling pipes. And but there's blogs, there's pages, there's YouTube channels. The thing about the YouTube stuff is a lot of people leave steps out
on purpose.
And you may not even realize it, but it's getting better. When I first started, there's a guy I knew of that was in the mall, and if he saw you wearing the glasses that you wear to do it, that filters out the bright orange, he'd shut his torch off because it was secretive. And
oh, really?
it still is it's hard to learn. Everybody wants to learn, but when they try it, then they realize it's not easy like they think it is, and that's why there's not everybody doing it.
So do you teach?
No, I've never really taught. I used to do, I called them classes, but it wasn't like an ongoing thing. And I had a few people that wanted to do an ongoing thing. They'd sign up every week, wanting to keep going. And then it ended up being that I had two things going on: people that had never done it, and then these guys that I had to find something every week to move them forward with. And that kind of disappeared. I quit doing anything for about 6 years, and I just listed like a week or two ago, I'm going to start doing, I call them experiences, because they're not classes and not intended to be, but it's just, you come try it. Because a lot of people, that's all they want to do. It's on their bucket list.
Hands-on.
Yeah, it's bucket list, and I'm doing marbles or pendants. That's all we're doing. So there's a few different styles of pendants they can choose from, and we just make a couple of pendants, and if there's more time, they can make more.
Now, with everything that you do, are you a solo operator, a solo artist? Do you ever have to team up with somebody?
No, I've collaborated with people a couple times, but I just like doing everything myself. I've had tons of people ask me if I have an apprentice or want an apprentice. I like doing everything myself.
I'm mostly thinking like just a second set of hands in order to complete a task.
I usually just don't do anything like that.
Fair. Hey.
I use
to find your niche. We talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
Or I use two sets of fingers to hold what I got to hold.
Sure.
You just figure it out. But my kids, I mean, I've taught them, they know what's going on. They don't know, like, they screw around. My 14-year-old says she likes to make blobs.
Blobs.
Yeah. She just melts glass. She hasn't spent any time learning anything. And I've tried to teach her stuff. My son that's 19, I finally showed him how to do a heart. That's the first time I'd ever really showed him to do anything, because all he wanted to do was screw around making blobs and marbles. And then when he made the hearts, because he's been doing it, playing around with it since he was like 6, And his hearts were awesome. I mean, some of them, they were close to mine, and he had just started making them, so he can do it. But it's just that thing of their kids, and they don't really care about it. And I think they think, oh, Dad will be around forever. And,
well, any interest in either of them taking it on to?
There's three. I have three kids. Almost 17, 19, almost 17, and then 14 and a half. And all of them like it. My almost 17-year-old daughter, she told my son that she doesn't like to do it. She thinks it's boring. But she wouldn't tell me because she doesn't like to hurt people's feelings. Yeah. But my youngest, if anybody does it, I think it'll be her. Because I'll do demos at the collective. She wants to be in on it. Mm-hmm. I do demos at a show or demos. She wants to do demos, which is fine. I mean, I trust that I can turn her loose, and she does. She knows enough about it that I don't have to sit and watch her. She can just do it. So that's
okay. Cool. So you've been doing this for 30 years. I'm looking. I see 10 fingers. I see 10 full fingers. Any accidents? Oops?
Yeah, I sliced my thumb open a couple weeks ago. It was about 1/4 of an inch. I've never been to the hospital.
Hey.
I don't want to jinx myself or anything, but I've never had a burn. I mean, if you play with fire, you're going to get burned.
Well, that's what
the glass is. There's a little thing on the end of the glass when you break a rod. Sometimes it'll have Oratube. They call it Satan's thumbnail.
Satan's thumbnail. I like that.
It's like a little razor end kind of on part of it, and it'll slice you. You don't even feel. It's like getting scratched, and then you're bleeding.
And it doesn't stop.
Yeah. It's this on my thumb. It was pretty good. I get cut more than I get burned.
And is that hot or
no? Not really. Sharp? But when I was starting, I still have a scar on my hand. I think I was making a lion or something, because every week the guy that Keith, he would show me something new or something, and I'd go home, play around. I was making this lion, and it cracked. I think it was that, and a piece of it stuck in my hand, the web of my hand, and it was hot and stuck in my hand.
Oh man!
And hot glass, sticks to your skin. Also.
Sounds awful.
Yeah, it's not. I've had pieces pop, and
that's a torture device we haven't thought of, I guess.
I've had my lip gets cut sometimes because of the ends of the tubes that I blow into are sharp because they're just snapped off. So I got to be careful of that. And then I've had hot glass pop and go in my mouth, hit my tongue. So
you've experienced some fun. What's the most complicated thing you've ever made?
Oh, I don't know. Some of the marbles I make are pretty complicated. And then my wife voluntold me years back that I was going to make a minion bride and groom.
Snap, let's go.
For a neighbor girl that babysat our kids and this and that. Well, I didn't do anything hollow then. So I made these probably 3.5 or 4 inch tall minion bride and groom that were solid glass.
Oh my God.
And they took hours to make. And it wasn't so bad making the individuals, but when I put them together, it was kind of a trick.
So you fused them together? They weren't separate?
Holding hands. I can't remember. I've got a picture of it.
That's amazing.
They were cool, but that was a pretty big undertaking.
That was a great gift.
Yeah.
Someone got a good deal.
I'll never make another one.
Now, are those like, because you make marbles, so the marbles are hard to break. So like the minions, is that stuff like hard to break, or how fragile is that?
Well, it's like I tell people, it's glass, but it's solid. Right. So it's just like marbles. They'll chip before they crack. They're pretty sturdy, but yeah, there's parts that would break, the smaller parts, but the bodies themselves shouldn't.
Yeah. God, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was.
So where do you sell your work?
Yeah.
I used to do a lot of shows. I did the farmer's market for about 10 years, and I did shows for about 20, including that time. That was my goal when I retired, is I was going to do shows, and then COVID happened.
Right.
And I realized that I didn't have to do shows to still make a living. So I've got a website, and I did pretty good at first on that, and then it just kind of died down. But I have my stuff at the local artisan collective. I've been there since the beginning. 8 years.
So if someone listens to this from out of state, they can go to the website and see what you do?
Yeah. We don't have a lot for sale on there, but they can get a hold of that. So I sell there, localartisancollective.com. I have my own website.
Just
So you've been at the collective since the beginning.
Yep. I'm one of two that's...
So let's talk about that. What's
okay.
What's your experience been like?
It's awesome.
You got good things to say?
Yeah, it's cool. When we started out, they wanted to be open 7 days a week, and we were open long hours. And it was cool, but it was kind of hard to fill all the time.
Well,
sometimes.
but let's be honest. I think that's smart in the beginning to just, because if anytime you're closed, I come from retail.
True, yeah.
And anytime you're closed, and someone comes, that's their experience, and then they don't ever come back. And so it does suck to like man it to have somebody work there 24/7, but or 7 days a week. But it is a good way to start your business.
It wasn't bad. I didn't personally mind it. It was just kind of hard. And then when on Sundays and a lot of Mondays, it was so dead. Would get tourists in, because where it's at down in the junction, there's really no other retail other than like Deseret Book. And so we trimmed it down to we were open half day Monday, closed Sunday, and then now we're closed Sunday and Monday. I'm there a lot. So
hairdresser hours.
Yeah. If you stop, we're open noon to 7, Tuesday through Saturday, 2371 Kiesel Avenue in Ogden. And if I'm there and I can get to the door, if somebody's there, I'll open up and just let them in. I don't care.
But you don't work there. You do it all at home?
Oh no, I did. I worked at home forever. I have a shop in my backyard. Pretty much had duplicate stuff at the store, and I was doing everything at home. Then I was part of a movie during COVID, and I spent all summer making ornaments at home in my shop that, it's heated in the summer and air conditioned in the winter. It's a foot off the ground because my backyard goes up a little bit, so it's on stilts. It's insulated, but it's freezing out there in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Hot in the summer. So I said, why am I not just doing it at the store?
Okay.
So I started working out of the store, and I just treat it like a job.
But so we were talking earlier that, you did a good job by doing it outside the house, but can you do it in the store then?
Oh yeah, I do it in the store. Always done it in the store. Okay. The fire marshals come by. We had just finished doing a thing on Channel 13 morning show, and they were going to be testing the fire alarms, but it wasn't supposed to be till later in the day. And the fire alarm went off right after we got done filming everything. And the fire marshal come in, and I'm sitting there working, and he was like, whoa. And it was a kid I went to school with. I didn't know he was a fire marshal. Now he's the fire chief out in Roy. I just saw last week. But yeah, I was like,
what's up?
Yeah. His dad was my shop teacher.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. Small town. Well, at least you know him,
Yeah, but it's it's cool. I just do my thing down there, and I have ventilation in there, and everything's good.
I love it.
Safety first.
Well, if you're looking for some Christmas presents, go to the local artisan collective, right? Or
Halloween presents.
Or Halloween. Yeah. Do you do Halloween stuff?
Oh yeah.
All the eyeballs and more.
Yeah. Eyeballs. I do teeth.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
I love that.
Yep.
A big pile of teeth.
Yep. All kinds of stuff like that.
And is that stuff already done? Like the Halloween stuff's already in the shop?
Yeah. I build it up. I like that kind of stuff. I make it year round, but too many years I'd be making Halloween stuff on Halloween.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to plan ahead.
Yeah.
So
no, that's
so I got a lot of stock and stuff, and and then I plan ahead now. So it's.
Well, any advice for anyone? I mean, you sort of gave little drips along the way that it's not as easy as people think, but if someone really wants to get into it, what would you sort of tell them?
Well, there's some Facebook pages now. You got to be careful with what you got to sift what you read on there and take everything with a grain of salt. Unfortunately, the new people don't know exactly what they're getting, and everybody's an expert on there. So there's a lot of misinformation.
But you do go in as a corrections officer. You go in and correct all of the mistaken stuff.
Everything. Yep. And so,
excuse me, as a retired correction officer. Yeah.
But so you can do that. I'm happy to help people.
Yeah.
I just don't want to teach. You know what I mean? So, but I'll help. There's a girl in town now that I'm helping get going. She's followed me for years and finally decided to take the plunge. I said, go for it.
Do you have social accounts? social media accounts?
It's all
under your name?
Everything's Hurst's Hand Blown Glass.
Hurst
My
Hand-Blown.
website's www.hurstsglass.
Okay.
HURSTS glass.com, and then Facebook, Instagram's at Hurst's Glass.
Well, you're an artist, man.
I'm pretty easy
You've been
to
an
find.
artist, and so you wanted to be clowns are sort of artistic, but similar. You're entertaining people with art.
I try, I guess. I don't know.
Are you
may
aware
bore
of any glass blowing workshops, classes, schools, programs in Utah?
Not in Utah. Well, I do. I have a friend that's down in Thanksgiving Point, Tom Holdman. He owns Holdman Studios. It's at the north end of the Thanksgiving Point, and he's a stained glass artist. He does a lot of stuff for temples, cathedrals, all kinds of stuff like that. But he started
That temple business, you can get in there. You can do all right.
Oh yeah, he does a lot of them. But he does. They have a hot shop down there, like the furnaces and stuff. You can go down there and take their classes. I know they were offering something a while ago that was like $1,200 for 12 hours.
Oh wow!
It was 3 hours a day for 4 days, or 4 hours a day for 3 days, something.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to learn a ton then, but you'll learn some basics.
Yeah.
But that's all I know. I get people ask me all the time, and I kind of didn't want to do I like doing the experience class kind of thing, but I've had drunk people show up. Weird people show up, and some strange things happen. So I was just like,
So is it, are your experiences that are coming up? Is this a paid thing? Okay.
So it's $75, and you make at least 2 marbles or pendants.
Awesome.
If there's more time, you can make whatever. And
yeah.
So
very cool.
Yeah,
Todd,
it's pretty.
We love what you're doing.
Yeah.
We love what you're doing. I think
thanks.
it's fantastic.
It's amazing, and you're in town. I think it's awesome.
I like it.
And we're such a fan of the collective and everything that they do there.
It's a good place.
Yeah. So go check that out.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, to see your work, but how many artists are in there right now? Do you have
30 or 35.
See, that's amazing. Where else can you see 35
Yeah.
artists?
Yeah.
The Monarch, we don't have 35 artists. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Well, I think that's it. What's your favorite band?
Kiss.
For real?
Nice.
For real.
That's
I like.
Nice.
Well, I don't know. My friend tells me that I have the most psychotic music collection he's ever seen, because I like everything from Liberace to Slayer,
Yeah.
Fair.
everything in between. But I like, I don't know, Kiss, ELO. I don't know.
No, these are great
If
choices.
it sounds good, I like it. So
Yeah.
That's
Willie
how we are.
Nelson. I mean, there's a lot of good.
That's exactly where we are.
Normally I go Kiss, Willie Nelson.
We love that. That's
That's
fantastic.
fantastic. Todd, we were off. Thanks so much for being here, Mike. Appreciate it,
Yeah.
man.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Really, really enjoy getting to know you and just learning more about the artist community here in town. So appreciate you being on the
Yeah.
on the
Thanks for
program.
having me.
We took a hiatus, Todd. I was in Florida for a few weeks, and
Yes,
then,
you were. Did you have a good time?
well, pro tip: Florida's hot.
What? You tell us that now?
No, I had a good time, and that was over. The Delta had a little issue.
So you got a few more days?
So we got some free days down there
exactly.
in Florida, and then came back, and then we had to start, get the schedule back going. So it's been a little bit, but it was a nice little reprieve. And also, by the way, our numbers dip in July anyway across all of our podcasts, just because summer, kids are out, people are doing things. We do pick up mid-August. Strangely enough, that's
Right
when
now.
the kids go
Yep.
back to school. So as the kids go back to school and you get in the swing of things, listeners, we're getting back in the swing of things. And so that's where we're at. Todd, what's happening in Salt Lake at the gallery down there?
All right. So Finchling Gallery, as a quick reminder, it is in Reservoir Park, which is just below the University of Utah, around 1st South and around 13th East. And I have a brand new show. I'm sure I mentioned it before. I have 2 gallery spaces. So I have an East Gallery and West Gallery. And so I have a brand new show opening on Friday, which I'm very excited about. It is a group show in the East Gallery. There is a gentleman named Joseph Ostraff who has taught years and years and years. In fact, I think he's just recently retired at BYU. And so it's a collection of students and alumni and some family members. And the theme is greenhouse. And so everything is tied to that without giving that away. Group shows are fantastic because it's a variety of mediums, and you're going to find something cool there. If you are able to, just like you do up here in Ogden, go to those openings. It's the best chance to see the artists. In this case, the group show has 18 artists. I'm sure a majority of them
that's
will
free
be there.
to just show up at the.
Yep, come on over. We got snacks for you. That's all I have to say. Usually in Utah, there's some free food. And so come check that out. That is Friday from 6 to 9. On the West Gallery, we have a gentleman named Simon Zivoff. And so...
Wait, Sivoff?
Simon Zivny. Joseph Ostraff. So that's the combination of these two names. Yeah. So Simon's a photographer. This particular show is called En Route. And it was... he spent 2 years as a mailman. Took a lot of photos.
Oh, I love
a lot of amazing photos. So
he had a camera with him while he was delivering the mail.
Yep.
I love that.
So this collection of photos, black and white photos, are fantastic. They're really beautiful.
That's so cool.
They tell amazing stories, and you can connect with every single one. And so these shows will be running for 6 weeks. So I think it's through September 20th. But if you're able to come Friday night from 6 to 9, that is Salt Lake City's Gallery Stroll as well. If you remember, Salt Lake City is every third Friday. Ogden is
every first Friday.
So it doesn't conflict. So come check things out.
I want to throw a shout out. There's an event coming up. We normally do, speaking of First Fridays, van sessions on First Friday. We have a band from Seattle who reached out to us that's coming through Utah, and they wanted to be on van sessions. Now, we get a lot of people that reach out to us, but I listened to the band. I'm like, ooh, these guys are really good. I like their vibe. They're indie rock band. Magenta Wave is the name of the band. And they're coming through only on the 24th. It's a Saturday. So it's next Saturday. 2 Saturdays? So anyway, the 24th. And I'm like, well, let's do it, man. Let's do a van sessions just for y'all, because how often do we get Seattle indie rock bands come through? Now they're at that level that a lot of the bands are in Ogden that are they haven't been around too long, but they got some stuff out on Spotify.
They're doing some touring,
and it's got a lot of plays. Yep, a lot of plays, and they're doing some touring, and they're putting an album out. So then I got a hold of our sponsor for van sessions, Utah, Carson down there at Utah. I'm like, hey Carson, I got this band.
Their outdoor patio is so rad.
Can we come hang out on your patio on Saturday? And he's like, well, let me see if there's a Raptors game. So there is a Raptors game. So the Raptors game starts at 6:30. So we're going to do van sessions at 5 p.m. And it'll go from 5 to 5:30, so that we're wrapped by 6, because they do like national anthem and that kind of stuff out there. And so, but we'll be on the patio at Utah on Saturday, August 24th with the band. It's a one-off show. Come hang out with us and have a good time.
And we'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll do it again.
Yeah. This is like a great way to kind of test that and see how it works. So, and we'll leave you with an outdoor jukebox. Before we get to that outdoor jukebox, just want to thank Banyan One for powering today's episode of Ogden Arts Adventure Show. You can listen and subscribe to the Ogden Arts and Adventure Show on YouTube. Look for us on Facebook, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and we have a website as well, thebanyancollective.com. If you want to be on the show, DM me on Instagram at Ogden Adventure. If you found value in this podcast, or you just feel like giving all of your money away, we have a platform for that. It's called buymeacoffee.com/Banyan Media. You set it up, you just buy us a beer, and then we pull $25 from your account every month. It's amazing. You should do it.
Or if you know where our studio is, just throw the cash over the wall.
Just throw cash over the wall. Yeah.
You just throw cash over the wall. If we find it on our side, we'll be very appreciative.
Oh my God. I love it. Okay. So this week's outdoor jukebox, this is not Kiss. I'm so sorry, Mike.
Had we known,
but this is an original cover. Well, this is a cover. So, but the band is from Ogden. It's Pdubba-U, spelled Pdubba-U. 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 And this was recorded just a month ago. And this is a cover that is it's a very, very popular song, but it was done in such a way that YouTube didn't give us a strike. Like YouTube didn't catch it. So it's I'm Gonna Be, the song 500 Miles, and by Pdubba-U on Van Sessions at the Monarch. We'll see you next week on the Ogden Arts and Adventure Show.
you know I'm gonna be the man who wakes up next to you when I go out. Yeah, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. If I get drunk, you know I'm gonna be the man who gets drunk next to you. And if I haver, I know I'm gonna be the man who's havering with you. 'Cause I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walks 1,000 miles to fall down at your door. Or walk in the dark. And when I'm working, I know I'm gonna be the man who's working hard for you. And when the money comes in for the work that I do, I'll put almost every penny onto you. And when I come home, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home to you. And if I grow old, yeah, you know I'm gonna be the man who's growing old with you. 'Cause I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walks 1,000 miles to fall down at your door. Da 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 da, da 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 da, da da dum da da dum da da dum da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da, da da dum da da dum da da dum da 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 da. Oh, yeah. Take it away, Preston. Hey! And when I'm lonely, I'm gonna be the man who's lonely without you. And when I'm dreaming, I'm gonna be the man who's dreaming about you. When I go out, yeah, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. And when I come home, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home to you. 'Cause I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walks 1,000 miles to fall down at your door.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Best version of that song I've heard. That's pretty awesome.